Yo, what's going on guys, XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys the top 5 best guns in the Black Ops Cold War Alpha. Now, of course, this is the alpha build of the game, so the top 5 guns could be very different when the beta rolls around, and of course, definitely going to be very different when the full game comes out. But this is just based on the alpha. We don't have too much time left in the alpha, but of course, if you guys want to still hop on and play it, these are the best guns I'd recommend to you guys. Now, of course, this is my opinion. These aren't the objective best guns in the game. I haven't fully tested them out enough to really be able to prove that. These are just from my own experiences in the game, and I'm also kind of talking about which guns I think are going to work for the most amount of people. So not necessarily the best guns for the best players, the best guns for all players necessarily, right? And of course, we've only had like 2 days to play around with these guns, which is not nearly enough to make a definitive list, but this is just based off my first impressions from the first 2 days of this alpha build of Black Ops Cold War. So first of all, I have to say this list was incredibly hard to make because I gotta say, this game's gun balance is some of the best gun balance I've ever seen in any Call of Duty game ever. Like, legitimately, every gun in this game feels pretty viable, except for maybe like 1 or 2. They're all really well balanced between being primaries and secondaries, so like the secondaries are where they should be, and the primaries are where they should be, aside from like a few guns, and obviously name those few guns in this video. But for the most part, it's pretty solid in terms of weapon balance. I don't think many changes really need to be made, but there are still some guns that are better than others. But like I said, it was really hard. Honestly, all 5 of these top 5 can all possibly be within the top 2 best guns. It was just a matter of my own personal opinion at that point because they're really close to one another. But I'm gonna start off with some honorable mentions, and those are gonna go to actually both of the sniper rifles in this game, and that is the Pellington and the LWC Tundra. Now, the reason why I'm putting both of these in the honorable mention and not in the top 5 is because, yes, although sniping is very good in this game and both of the snipers are very powerful and very easy to use, they're not easy to use for everybody, right? And this is a list for everyone, not just the best players. These snipers are insanely good for the better players in the game. They're really good. Like, you've seen the clips. Noah J has been destroying lobbies. They've all been doing pretty damn good with these snipers because they're really powerful. Some of the best snipers I think we've had in a long time in Call of Duty. But not everyone's good with snipers. Not everyone has the ability to be able to aim and correctly get to their target and kill them, especially because the aim assist isn't really there in this game. But if you have the accuracy and the precision, you're going to be destroying people with them. So I definitely think they deserve an honorable mention spot, but not all players are going to be able to do so good with them. So I don't think it's really fair to put them in the top 5, although they are still very good weapons in this game. And coming at number 5 spot, I have the AK-47, which is, of course, an assault rifle. And I've always been a fan of AK-47s just in general. Like, COD usually shits on them and makes them not really that good, especially compared to the other guns in the game. But thankfully, this game made the AK-47 actually pretty damn good. It's got high damage and high recoil. That's kind of what the AK-47 is all about. And it definitely hits like a truck, man. And the recoil, although it says in the stats it's high, it's pretty manageable, especially if you use a foregrip, so I haven't really had much trouble with it. The iron sights are beautiful. There is no reason to use a scope on this gun unless maybe you're playing on a larger map, then maybe you need one. But even then, if you get any sort of medium ranges, this thing just tanks the enemies, and it really isn't that hard to control, like I just said. But the iron sights are so clean, and it really just helps making this gun feel like an all-around really viable option for most circumstances and in most matches. And I've been having a lot of success with it, so I think most players should be able to have a decent amount of success with it. But yeah, the high damage on it is exactly what makes it useful. But if you want, the best attachments for it, definitely help out that recoil because it can be pretty rough if you don't put the foregrip on it. So I definitely recommend that foregrip. Coming number 4th spot is the Type 63, which is a really interesting gun. It's of course a tactical rifle in this game. I was really debating on putting the M16 or the Type 63 in the top 5. I knew one of them deserved to be in the top 5, but I decided to go with the Type 63 because I feel like it's better in most opportunities compared to the M16, because the M16 is only good at long ranges. Up close, the M16 actually kind of sucks. But the Type 63 can be really good at long ranges, but also up close if you're able to hit your targets. Just like any other semi-automatic gun in any COD game ever, you really need to be at least decent with it. It's not like the snipers where you mostly the better player's gonna be better with it. You can definitely do it even if you're an average player, but you just need to be able to hit your shots correctly and need to be able to tap that trigger quickly because of course it is semi-automatic, therefore you have to do it. But it kills in like just a couple shots. It's really not that big of a deal. But like I said, those longer ranges is what makes it so useful. And a lot of these maps have some longer range spots. Satellite, for example, a lot of longer ranges. Armada, Crossroads, definitely the 12v12 maps have a lot of long ranges. Obviously maps like Moscow aren't going to be as bad with this, but you're definitely going to want to use this on a map like Satellite where you have those way open areas, and it definitely destroys lobbies, at least from what I've been using it for. At least I haven't been using it nearly as much as some of these other guns because I usually prefer a fully automatic weapon, but for the people who love the semi-automatic guns, the Type 63 is a perfect choice for you. And coming in number 3 spot, I got the XM4 or the Commando, which is easily the most moderate weapon in this game, meaning it's kind of just good at like everything, but it's kind of average. You know, it's not like great at much, and it's not terrible at anything. It's very middle of the road. Every game tends to have an assault rifle like that. That was kind of like the ICR from Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, where it's just very middle of the road. It's not like amazing at anything. It's just kind of like, you know, in the middle. And I kind of like that. It's definitely good for most situations. It's good up close. It's good at a distance, but it's never going to be like the best at up close or the best at a distance. But since, you know, you're not going to always be just at a distance or just up close on a COD map, you might be going in situations where you're at both places. You're going to want a weapon like this, so I definitely think it's definitely worthy to use. I'm not a big fan of the iron sights though. They're a little blocky, they kind of get in your way, so I do recommend putting in a scope on it or something, a red dot sight. I've been rocking a lot of the different scopes. I've been trying out a lot of different scopes on the XM4, and it's been pretty good, man. It's been pretty good. It definitely doesn't have the highest damage out there. It's definitely got less damage than the AK-47. But if you can handle the recoil, you can hit your shots, you'll kill them quick enough. It's quick enough to the point where it's a good weapon to use. And it definitely does justice to the original Commando from Black Ops 1. Although it doesn't look the same, people were kind of pissed about how it looks. It looks just like any other Commando I've seen in real life, so it's fine. It perfectly encompasses what the Commando should be, at least in my opinion. And coming in the number 2 spot, probably the most slept on gun in this game so far, the Krig 6. I did not think this gun would be that good. I really didn't. I wasn't expecting it to be good. And my god, it is pretty damn good. It's got lower damage, but it's also got really low recoil. So this thing is really easy to just laser people across the map. And of course, like I said, that low damage I thought was going to be a big issue, but it's really not because it has a decent fire rate to it as well. So it kills them pretty quick. I really dig the iron sights, but I also think putting a red dot sight on it makes it even better. And I was really, you know, concerned of how this gun would work because I didn't really use it at first. I actually didn't use it till like later on because it was one of the less recognizable guns because it wasn't like we had a gun just like this in Black Ops 1. A lot of people wanted to use, you know, the Black Ops 1 guns like the Commando and the AK-74U and stuff, and the AK-47, stuff like that, stuff that we had back in, you know, the original Black Ops. But no one really looked at the Krig because they're like, oh, I don't know what the hell a Krig is. You know, no one really knows. Apparently, it's more of an AK-5 in real life, so that's what the weapon's based off of. But I don't know, man. It's a pretty fun gun to use. A lot of people thought it was the Galil originally, but it kind of has a similar look to the Galil. But for the most part, it does just what the XM4 does, but I would say better in most situations. Of course, it's got lower damage than the XM4, but as I said, the fire rate's a little bit higher. Therefore, it actually kills quicker in most instances. And I've got some pretty insane gameplays with the Krig 6, so I definitely recommend using this if you want a solid assault rifle that'll kill in most instances, and even up close can do some good damage. And coming at the number 1 spot, this should not be a surprise to anyone, that is the AK-74U. This gun is a god tier, I'd say overpowered weapon at this point in time, and I do think it's going to be nerfed. Don't worry, I don't think it's a thing we should worry about too much because I think they already are talking about nerfing it for the beta, so I think it's going to get that nerf. Everyone was talking about this even before the alpha because all the YouTubers were talking about it when they got early access to the alpha, and they were saying how overpowered it was, and they were definitely not wrong. This thing can do what an assault rifle does almost better, but it does that same thing in SMG form very, very well because it is an SMG. So it destroys lobbies, man. This thing is insane. At a distance, it's insane up close, it's insane at medium distances. It's probably the most all-round perfect weapon in this game. I don't really see many flaws with it. It's really easy to get some really easy, you know, kills with it. Like I've met plenty of chopper gunners using this AK-74U. It's definitely better up close than at a distance, but it can still do what the XM4, the Krig 6, and the AK-47 can all do very well, but it does it almost better in some instances. It's insane. I don't know what they were thinking designing this weapon, but thankfully they're definitely going to be nerfing it for the beta as well as for the full game, so I don't think it's going to be something we need to worry about nearly as much. But of course, that's going to do it for this video. As I said, the other guns in this game aren't even bad. Like the Uzi, for example, is really good. The MP5 is pretty damn good. The M16 is pretty good. The Stoner is actually a really good LMG as well. I didn't even talk about the Stoner because I didn't think it deserved the top 5, but that's a really good weapon as well. They're all really good. Even the shotguns and the pistols are pretty good. They all just feel balanced, man, and I really am so happy that the gun balance in this game is as good as it is, because I haven't really felt like the past few CODs have had the best gun balance in the world. It's been pretty good, but this game just seems to have really solid gun balance. Once they nerf the 74U and maybe buff, like maybe one of the pistols needs to be buffed. I feel like the 3-round burst pistol, whatever it's called, I forget the name of it, might need a slight buff, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with the gun balance, and hopefully you guys are as well. I'm going to be bringing you guys a top 5 map video as well. We're ranking all the maps in the game. Obviously, there's only been 5 of them. We're going to do that later on, though. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.